Ladies and gentlemen, let's assume that President Trump is down in the polls and that he's going to lose the election by a landslide, and that Americans just can't stand President Trump anymore. This is according to basically every poll. He's down 15 points. Media is actually reflecting reality with their apoplectic and fuming and hysterical and seething and just overwhelmingly negative media coverage. Their fanatical media coverage against Trump. Why does Trump have more small donors? So we'll get to the cash advantage, which is around $50 million over Biden. But why does President Trump have 40%? Biden has 40% of his fundraising that comes from small donations and about 60% from large donations. So generally, grassroots support, you can see grassroots support and enthusiasm and a loyal voting base from the types of donations given. So one thing Bernie Sanders could always claim, well, you know what, I got $20 per person, and I gave it all to Hillary Clinton, but you could see that people were very enthusiastic about me. You know, the average Joe gave me money. Now it's inverted with President Trump. It's around 60%, 57.5%, 57.05% under $200. Large contributions were only 42.43%. So it's pretty much inverted. 60% of Joe Biden's... First of all, it ain't going to be Joe Biden. It's going to be Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee. You think they're going to go and... You think they're going to roll with a person who looks and communicates and acts like an exhumed body? You think they're going to go with Joe Biden, a politician who gives off the persona of a cadaver that got Botox and plastic surgery? Joe Biden looks like Rip Van Winkle's nightmare. Joe Biden looks like a wax statue of himself that came to life. Joe Biden nobody has ever heard, the United States of America hasn't heard Joe Biden actually speak. Like, he's nowhere, like CNN, MSNBC, like, you know, the Washington Post, New York Times. Have you heard, Biden's speech was, like, you know, transformative. You know, people loved it. What does he stand for? Who is this man? Is this man a memory of someone that used to be? But here, I mean, 60% small contributions for President Donald Trump, below $200. Now, and the reverse is true, or the inverse. 60% large contributions for Biden. So most of Biden's it's going to be Hillary Clinton, but here, most of Biden's. And I will have made the biggest political call of all time. By the way, if you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below, ladies and gentlemen. Your support is greatly appreciated. I have my live streams in the evening, so check them out. And I'm starting a newsletter very soon. So email me at contactgoodman78@gmail.com if you want to be part of the newsletter. But Biden's campaign, this is CNN just like an hour ago. Biden's campaign announced Thursday that his fundraising operation had $242 million remaining in its war chest. Okay, Trump aides previously announced that the president's campaign and aligned political committees had $295 million cash on hand. Biden has about $242 million cash on hand. President Trump has $295 million, according to CNN. Now, I was reading Open Secrets. Open Secrets has a little bit different. The numbers are a bit different in Open Secrets, but President Trump still has the advantage on Open Secrets. So CNN shows President Trump with $50 million more in terms of cash on hand. That changes, by the way. I think Clinton, once Clinton becomes nominee, they'll be able to get a lot more money very soon. There's only 4 months left. Nobody cares about polls. So, I mean, you want voter turnout in cities that have experienced $1.4 billion in property damage with a pandemic that Democrats have told their voters that if they step outside, they'll combust into flames. So you're not going to get the voter turnout for Democrats. People are, the average person who doesn't like Trump is okay with him. Like, Democrats and media, they think that their vitriol and venom and the way they despise Trump is indicative of how everyone else despises Trump. That's not true. There are a lot of people who might not like President Trump, but aren't going to run to the polls for Biden. And it ain't going to be Biden. It's going to be, or wouldn't run to the polls for Biden. It's going to be Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is going to be nominee. Otherwise, they lose miserably. Clinton could actually win. And they have no chance with Biden. Everyone knows this. They have no chance with Biden. In 2017, share my Huffington Post and Times of Israel articles. By the way, I have a great segment on my thoughts on Nick Cannon on H.A. Goodman's other channel. So check that out. But on Open Secrets, we have here cash on hand. President Trump has around a $30 million advantage, not a $50 million advantage that's shown on CNN. But it really doesn't matter, about a little over $20 million advantage. But it really doesn't matter. He has outspent Biden by a considerable margin, looking here. And it's like, so 300, so They're not going to defeat President Trump. So by like $40 to $50 million, he's been outspent. So anyway, the numbers on Open Secrets are a little bit different from CNN. But CNN just today, $242 million in cash for Biden, $295 million for cash. It's $53 million cash advantage. And most of Biden's donors are larger, wealthier, Hollywood, producers and whatever. That you can look right here. Most of them are big donations. President Trump, most are smaller donations. So with Biden, he can't rely on grassroots support because there is no grassroots support. With President Trump, he can definitely say, look, you know what? So most of Biden's major contributors are PACs. Okay, big money. Remember you heard for 4 years all the wonderful progressive pundits that have million sub channels. We're going to get money out of politics. Well, they got $20 million in venture capital funding. And Biden is only money in politics. But anyway, the enthusiasm, the passion, the energy is President Trump. Even, look, the media is hysterical. Like, I'm looking at the headlines. They've now gone into overdrive. They don't have Russia anymore, so they can't obsess over a fantasy. They don't have, he withheld military assistance to interfere in the election. Okay, this is absurd. This is ludicrous. They're going to lose on November 3rd. They're already saying the only way Trump wins is from disinformation, which is funny because they're full of disinformation. So they amplify. If, let's say, for example, Trump says something that they feel is not true, they amplify it to the point that the whole planet hears however they twisted or manipulated, or let's just say President Trump said something that's not 100% accurate. They're the ones who amplify it to the point where people could be misinformed. Because they have nothing else. Their outrage and their fabricated and hilarious indignation at everything he says. Like, they don't talk, their lives are the pandemic. The pandemic is what defines them. But the pandemic, 5 Democratic-run states account for over half of the lives lost and half of all the cases. Over half of all the cases and over half of all the lives lost. Around 4 Democratic states. Michigan, New York is the epicenter on the planet. On March 1st, the governor of New York stated, the risk remains low. The risk remains low in New York. There's no need for undue anxiety. God bless the people of New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Illinois. These are the 5 states that account for over half of the lives lost in the entire country. They tried to make it a red state issue with percentage of cases increased. They have to, Mark Twain talked about lies, and statistics. They have to look and try to really, really conjure up a doomsday scenario for Florida or red states when they're sitting on 5 Democratic Party states' machines. Which Illinois, by the way, had a primary. Masks were not mandatory in March. It was March 17th, I believe. Right in the beginning of the whole, towards the beginning of the whole pandemic, or while it was in full swing, they had a primary. They didn't postpone their primary. Neither did Arizona, or it was Illinois, Arizona, and Florida. The Democrats in these states did not postpone their primaries. They didn't, and they didn't ask Fauci whether or not they could have the primaries. But you better believe when there's an Oklahoma rally, oh my God, they made a big deal about that. The duplicity and the disingenuous nature of media and Democrats, unbelievable. People understand this, generally. Voters, you have a very savvy electorate. Media is under the impression that it can sway the minds of impressionable voters. That's not the case. People have pretty much already made up their mind, and the people on the fence will gravitate towards President Trump because in every poll, he has independents choosing him for the economy. Almost every poll. In the poll where he was 14 points down like 3-4 weeks ago, independents chose President Trump by a 16-point margin on the economy. That was a CNN poll. Now you have these absurd public relations. He's up 15 points. Based on what? These polls will not only not be accurate, they'll be so inaccurate, people won't take them seriously anymore. Like, President Trump wins again. He's taking the entire polling and he's shoving the entire survey analysis polling industry in the toilet, along with Twitter and Facebook and social media in general, aside from YouTube. Any video-based platform is fine. But after this election, people will say, I spent 4 years retweeting President Trump into two terms, into 8 years. They will end up retweeting President Trump. I will have made the biggest political call of all time. It's going to happen, and I don't know how. Hillary Clinton will be nominee. I don't know how. Maybe Biden, I don't know how. Who knows how? Who cares how? Clinton's going to be nominee because she's the only chance they have. And even the DNC spokeswoman stated, we're not officially nominating Joe Biden. This is how strong the hold that Democrats have on this country. The DNC spokeswoman can actually say that, and even if it's a slip of the tongue, she won't be asked about it. Nobody could even imagine. We already learned in 2016, they don't run by any rules. There are no rules in the primary. I don't understand why people don't realize this. Furthermore, nobody would care, even if there were rules, if Democrats broke those rules, because they have an unbridled quest for political influence. Just very similar to Clinton's unbridled ambition, not seen since Attila the Hun. But give me your thoughts below, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. Also, I have a great segment on there on Nick Cannon's latest statements that were viewed as anti-Semitic, but I have a unique take on that. And give me your thoughts below. I think that the average Democratic politician says things that are far more anti-Semitic than what Nick Cannon said, which is also, of course, completely bizarre and anti-Semitic. But I explain on H.A. Goodman's other channel. I don't think he should be fired. He should have been fired. I don't think so. But anyway, I explain on H.A. Goodman's other channel. Check out that segment. It's a very important segment. Give me your thoughts. Thank you so very, very much. And if you want to be part of a newsletter, it's contactgoodman78@gmail.com.